thinking about the lumbar spine is you've got a breakdown of the 5 elements that goes in the following order. Metal chops wood, wood covers earth, earth soaks up water, water puts out fire, right? The K order. As it's going up the spine, if you had an energy coming up, oh, and by the way, you do, it's called your do channel, your governor channel. This energy coming up is going in the K order, right? K, which means to cut or to control. So in order to understand the significance of that, refer to Exhibit 2 over here. Ta-da! Can you see this, people?
We can't.
You could. You can. I know. I need a big whiteboard.
Not the first one.
Oh, the first one.
Yeah.
Now we're going to this one. Okay. Or not. Maybe, maybe not. So in Chinese, in modern Chinese medicine, we look at the 5 elements and then we think about the several aspects of the 5 elements. First of all, we think about the Sheng cycle, right? Sheng cycle. And the Sheng cycle is how the elements generate each other, which is completely different than this cycle. In the Sheng cycle, you're going to say that fire generates earth, earth generates metal, metal generates water, water generates wood, wood generates fire, and it goes in a productive cycle. And that's one way that the elements are ordered. And then we think about the Ke cycle. Right? Sheng means birthing, and Ke means cutting, controlling. And the Ke cycle is this cycle that I just outlined. Metal chops wood, wood comes earth, earth water, water puts out fire, right? So that's two ways that a 5-element system can interact. We've got 5 elements. How many ways can they interact? They can go round in a circle like that, or they can follow the inner lines like that. Round in a circle is the Sheng cycle, the birthing cycle of the 5 elements. And going in this inner ordering is the Ke cycle. But what about the opposite of that? I mean, why not? There's 4 ways that energy can move in a 5-element system. There's the Sheng, the Ke, the reverse Sheng, and the reverse Ke. Reverse Sheng and reverse Ke don't get a lot of action in Chinese medicine. They're kind of, they're basically not used very much at all. And I think actually, personally, I think probably not even understood. So if we go in this ordering, metal, wood, earth, wood, that works. If we go in this ordering, metal, wood, earth, water, fire, it's the Ke cycle. But what about if we go in the opposite ordering? How about fire warms up water, water moistens earth, earth feeds wood, wood produces oxygen, air, and pulls minerals into its roots and utilizes them. There's a reverse ordering of the elements. We call that the reverse Ke. So I've got a little idea for you. It's a little out there, but play with it. And we have to figure out how to draw it, or at least write it. I'm going to suggest that actually in the 4-fold sequencing of the 5 elements, you've got Sheng, which corresponds to birth, right? And that's what it means. Sheng is literally, in characterological terms, it's a depiction of a sprout breaking through the earth, a little sprout of a plant breaking through the earth. And then you've got the reverse Ke cycle. I'll just write that down as reverse Ke. And I'm going to suggest to you that the reverse Ke cycle corresponds to growth. And then you've got the reverse Sheng cycle, which I'm going to suggest to you corresponds to decline. And then you've got the Ke cycle, which I'm going to suggest to you corresponds to death / rebirth, right? Now, this idea of a 4-fold cycle is very ancient, okay? Birth, growth, decline, death. That's a 4-fold sequence which obviously matches spring, summer, autumn, and winter, right? Because decline is also storage. Death is also the moving towards rebirth, right? So it's spring, summer, autumn, winter. In fact, even the Neijing, because I've been looking at this for years, this 4-fold pattern, and I thought there was nothing in Chinese medicine that corroborated or supported this. But then I flipped open the Neijing, and I found a passage which talks about this 4-fold sequence, right after it's talked about the Shang and the Ke cycle, it actually defines them. It defines it as birth and growth, and then shrinking down and storing, which is the fall, and then death, rebirth, which is the winter, which is that real storage, and then something comes out of it and going down into the roots. So this cycle is also familiar to Buddhism, where they talk about this fourfold sequence of birth, growth, and then maturing, and then decline, and then death. Right? I'm going to suggest to you that this overlaps the four possibilities of how energy can move in a five-fold sequence, right? And it corresponds to Shang, reverse Shang, and Ke. So, from your tailbone, actually I'm not even sure about it, but from your sacrum up through your lumbar spine, if we're going upwards, we're going in the Ke cycle. Remember, Ke corresponds to that which is reducing down. So what is reducing as it goes up in your body? That's interesting to think about. So,
wait.
say again?
Yeah. So from the sacrum to L1,
Yeah.
up is the Ke.
Is the Ke cycle, the whole thing, if you would go upwards.
But you said that was birth and death and rebirth.
Yes, I did.
But
So-
now you just said it was reducing.
Well, it is reducing as it goes up. Things are dying. So what is dying as it goes up your spine? It's an interesting thing to think about. Well, what's dying as it goes up your spine, because it's being utilized, is the Jing. Right? So the Jing is being utilized in much the same way as the wax of a candle is being utilized, so that the Shen of your consciousness can stay illuminated, and the Qi of your body can keep on functioning. Okay, and so for those of you that are not too familiar with Chinese medicine, I probably just lost you. But we've got three things that we're really into in Chinese medicine: Jing, Qi, and Shen. Okay, which goes back a little bit to that conversation I had about. I'm going to write upside down. No, that goes back to that conversation I had about the bodies, right? The physical body, the Qi body, the Shen body, the spiritual body, and so on. In Taoism, this whole distinction is expressed often as Jing, Shi, Qi, Shen, Ling, and Tao, right? And then in the classic statement in Taoism is Jing Hua Qi Hua Shen, Hua Wu Hua Tao. So the Jing is used up or transformed in order to generate Qi. The Qi is used up or transformed in order to generate Shen.
What is Hua? Jing Hua?
Oh, Hua means transformation.
Tran-
It means goes through some sort of utilization and turning upside down, which is the actual original meaning of Hua, into something else, right? So what's happening in your body on this level, on the level of your consciousness, of the Du channel, the ascending channel, is that as it's going up, its fundamental physical embodied quality, which we call the Jing in Chinese medicine, it means your essence, is getting used up so that your body generates Qi, and then getting used up so that it generates Shen. So this is kind of evident if you, the fact that the Shen utilizes the Qi and the Jing is evident if you just sort of think about Shen for a minute. Shen is consciousness, but it's consciousness in a body, right? We're not talking about astrally traveling and living in the sky and stuff. We're talking about living in a body. So in a body, consciousness only operates if it has the right food. Right? Just like the way a candle's flame is not going to exist unless it has all that wax sitting there. So your physicality is the food, is the source, right? Which through a process of energetic transformation generates Qi, which then generates Shen, right? And if you go to sleep at night, you replenish your Qi and you replenish your Jing. That's what sleep does. That's why sleep is critical. And then when you awaken, you start utilizing or burning the Qi and the Jing in order to function your consciousness. That's why after 18 hours of being awake, you start to get really tired, right? Because your Shen has used up the store of Jing and the store of Qi that was regenerated through the process of being fast asleep. Do you get that concept a little bit?
Yeah.
It's replenished in sleep. It's used up during the day, and this upward ascension through the Kerr cycle of the elements demonstrates the process of the utilization of the foundational essences of your physicality in order to generate energy and then consciousness. Now, that's the ascending energy of the governor channel, the do channel straight up your spine. But we've got a descending energy present here too, which we need to also be present too. And that descending energy is your bladder channel. Notice it's going 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. It's descending downwards. Your bladder channel is traveling this way and this way, right? And it's traveling right next to your spine, and then a little bit further out, and then a little bit further out. It's traveling in these waves of energy down your back, downwards. Now, the downwards direction that the bladder channel is traveling at is in the reverse Kerr cycle. It's the opposite, so it has to be the reverse Kerr. Now, in this cycle, fire warms up water. Well, that's nice. Now you don't have cold water, you have warm water. And then warm water nourishes and moistens earth. Earth that is nourished by warm water is very fertile, and so that allows for the arising of the green force, the plant force, the living force. And the arising of the living plant force inside of earth that has soaked up fire-infused water then allows for that plant force to draw upon minerals and also to draw upon and work with air, both of which are reflected in the metal force. Right? So as we go down the bladder channel, we are actually looking at how substance is created and how things are increased and improved, how the physical body is actually incorporated, right? How physicality is made to grow, to actually come into a place of establishment and fullness.
So hence, that's the yin is the bottom and the yang is the top.
That is true. I couldn't see the connection to what you said, but that is a true statement. Yin is at the bottom, yang is at the top. Right. The Kerr cycle is moving from yin to yang. Jing is transforming into qi. Qi is transforming into shen. Things are going from more yin to less yin to most yang. Right. And at the same time, there's this downward descending movement of the bladder channel, which is a yang channel, but it's traveling downwards in relation to this 5-element stratification. Right, which is, the implication of which is that the generation of your qi and your jing, the engine of it, fundamentally is occurring in the lower part of your body, actually. And the upper part of your body is using it all, but the actual generation of your qi and of your jing and of your force and your structure is actually occurring lumbar and sacral area. So that's an interesting thing to think about right there, because Chinese medicine has always felt that the belly and the processes of this area of your body are the critical areas in terms of the development of illness and imbalance. And at least 80% of disease is pretty much attributed to the functioning of your spleen, liver, and kidney, right? The origin of disease tends to occur there. It might manifest in your heart, your lungs, your big toe, your ear, wherever, but its origin is typically in this area in terms of your physicality. Physical manifesting. And the European medical tradition saw the same thing. The German homeopathic doctors of the last 2 centuries, all said that 80–90% of disease actually generates in the belly, fundamentally. And the naturopaths came to that conclusion too.
I think it goes back even to Greek medicine, ancient
Probably
Greek
does. I don't know myself much
Greek,
about Greek medicine, but
ancient Greek medicine also.
interesting.
has that, yeah.
So, from the point of view of the energetics we're looking at, it makes a little bit of sense that you've got consciousness ascending, burning through everything, and also some sort of descending process of embodiment and incorporation. It's 12:29. So when we come back from lunch, what we're going to do is, I'll continue this process a little bit of elucidation of the rest of the sacral points whilst you digest your lunch more. And then we will, what will we do? We'll probably find those points. We'll locate them on each other and start doing energetic work with the lumbar spine and the sacrum, because that'll be a lot of fun. and I'll get a little bit more, when we get back, I'll talk for a bit so you can digest for a while. I'll go a little bit more into like the inner bladder channel, the outer bladder channel, the plateau GIG, and how that plays, because that's a whole other matrix of how this works. Okay? Thanks, guys.